Welcome back to the Lowry and the University of Salford graduation. The second ceremony today will see more than 300 graduates from the School of Health Professions, the School of Nursing and the Learning Development Unit presented to the Chancellor of the University, Professor Sir Martin Harris. Graduates will receive their certificate along with a limited edition print by acclaimed Salford artist Harold Riley. Most graduates from the School of Healthcare Professions work for the NHS, private healthcare organisations or local councils in a variety of jobs which reflect in specialist degrees: midwife, occupational therapist, orthotist, physiotherapist, podiatrist, radiographer and sports rehabilitator. Other occupations include clinical technologist, fitness instructor, nurse, support worker and therapy manager. A few will set themselves up as self-employed or freelance. Most graduates from the School of Nursing work for the NHS as nurse, nursing practitioner or specialist nurse. A few work in private organisations and within the healthcare sector. But in addition, Salford industrialist and Salford City Reds chair, John Wilkinson, will be presented with the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters. He was born in Walkden and remains one of the proudest champions of the city of Salford. John Wilkinson supports many philanthropic activities. He is committed to bringing sport to the children of the city. John Wilkinson was awarded an OBE in 2001 for services to the city of Salford, in both sport and business achievement. He is providing a significant legacy for Salford and is a key figure in the city's continuing development. Now the procession's just about to start, but I'll be back later.
I declare this ceremony open for the conferment of degrees and diplomas of the University of Salford. Pro-Chancellors, distinguished guests, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this ceremony today in Salford's magnificent Lowry Centre, when we gather together to mark the award of degrees to so many of the university's graduands. It is a special pleasure to welcome not just the graduands themselves, but also their families and friends here to share their pride on this very special occasion. It gives me particular pleasure also to welcome today John Wilkinson, otherwise known as Mr. Salford, indeed awarded an OBE for services to this city. John Wilkinson, as you might expect, is very proud of Salford, the city in which he grew up, and you'll hear more shortly of his role as chair of Salford City Reds, Salford's rugby league club, of which the university is so proud to be a partner. Today's ceremony marks a momentous day for our graduating students, celebrated not just here in Salford, but around the world. Last year, the ceremonies were viewed in 77 countries, as well as in 206 cities and towns here in the UK. This year also, our ceremonies are being filmed live and broadcast via the web stream around the world. Our university has a rich history stretching back to 1896. At that time, Salford Working Men's College joined forces with the Pendleton Mechanics Institute to form the Salford Technical Institute, which quickly became the Royal Technical Institute Salford, having been granted royal assent. The Duke and Duchess of York officiated at the opening ceremony, and Manchester's renowned Halley Orchestra turned out to accompany the proceedings. At that time, at the end of the 19th century, mechanical engineering, chemicals, textiles and construction dominated the industrial scene in Salford and led the choice of subjects on offer. A century later, in 1996, the final merger took place that forms the present University of Salford as it is today, with a very different range of subjects meeting contemporary needs. I first came to the University of Salford as a young lecturer in 1972, leaving 15 years later as Pro-Vice-Chancellor. 5 years ago, I was delighted to be asked to return as Chancellor, and I'm only sorry that this is the last year of my 5-year term. During those 37 years since I first arrived, having married a girl from Manchester, I've seen so many changes, almost all for the better. Most of all, perhaps, is the physical environment in which we're all celebrating today. Here in the former Docklands, we find not only the splendid Lowry Centre, whose grand opening as a Millennium Project in 2000 I remember so well, but so much more besides. And there's one project in particular that I want to allude to, because it says so much about the value that a university can bring to its region when it adds its own strengths to those of the community and the nation. And this is Media City, fast now becoming a reality. The university has signed the contract to lease some 100,000 square feet of property right next to the BBC, here on the waterfront at the heart of Salford Quays, and our centre will open in 2011. This development is right at the heart of the biggest single investment in new media ever made in the United Kingdom, and will create so many new opportunities for our graduates and others in related fields. We've already signed a far-reaching partnership agreement with the BBC, which will open up new pathways into employment in the media industry and develop new talent within the region. The agreement will include new courses such as a BSc in digital technology, enterprise training for our students, and student placements within the BBC. This is just one example of a growing involvement with the city and Salford Quays, and will greatly raise the university's profile in this most important of fields. And just as important is the university's ever-growing involvement with the NHS, and thereby with the health and well-being of our fellow citizens. Ever since the early work 40 and more years ago, on what was then called orthopaedic mechanics, the University of Salford has developed its courses and its research in ways that enable our graduates to serve the community locally, nationally, and internationally in an ever-growing range of aspects of healthcare. Just to mention one recent example, where so many of the things a university can do came together, last November the university signed a £1.5 million 3-year partnership agreement with Skoll, the global foot giant owned by SSL International, the Manchester-based consumer healthcare company. Through the Feet Matter partnership, the expertise of the university's Centre for Rehabilitation and Human Performance Research is being used to inform and contribute to the development of products at Skoll. The podiatry team from the School of Healthcare Professions are supporting Skoll in the provision of its knowledge and education strategy, and patients everywhere are benefiting. Closer to home, the university's estate's master plan is nearing completion and includes ambitious plans for the complete transformation of the university campus over the next 10 years to enhance the university's infrastructure and thereby, of course, our students' experience. Most recently, this has included improvements to the Adelphi building, dance studios, refurbishment of the Allerton Annex to create art studios, and the development of office and meeting spaces in Acton Square. We've also earmarked funds for the creation of a one-stop shop for students within University House to provide access to student services in a contemporary and exciting environment, while plans are also being drawn up for new investment elsewhere in central Salford, such as a rebuilt Salford Crescent station that may bring hundreds of millions more investment into this immediate area. The university and its surroundings will be regenerated and transformed so that both university and our wider Salford community will benefit from one of the greenest and most environmentally attractive inner city university campuses in the UK. I could, of course, go on. I'll just give two final examples. The university made its largest ever submission to the research assessment exercise in 2008 and achieved a really impressive set of results. There was some 83% of its research being assessed as of international quality, and 43% being either world-leading or internationally excellent. Overall, 12% of the research submitted by this university was assessed in the highest possible category, world-leading. Research of this quality reinforces our outstanding teaching and thereby our contribution to the community. And in a quite different vein, in April 2009, Salford Student Union was awarded a prestigious Bronze Standard Environmental Award in an accreditation scheme to help students' unions do their bit for the environment. This year, 79 students' unions took part from across the UK, and Salford gained national recognition of the union's efforts to improve environmental performance by meeting no fewer than 22 of the criteria for a bronze level award. And now let me say just a word about the two schools whose students are graduating today. Firstly, the School of Healthcare Professions, which has continued to build on its strengths through its partnerships in collaboration with the Salford Primary Care Trust. The school has reached the second stage of bidding to become a pilot site for the Department of Health's Fit for Work initiatives. While November 2008 saw the formal launch of a £1.75 million partnership with SSL International to carry out research and educational development into all aspects of foot health, both nationally but also in Chennai in India. Midwifery, in conjunction with the Birth Rights Organisation, held a Celebrate Birth event, which included a public launch of the Birth Rights art collection and staged the play Letter to Rita about the experience of childbirth. This was followed by a screening of the film Born. The last year has also seen further growth in our postgraduate portfolio, with new master's levels programs in advanced physiotherapy, strength and conditioning, trauma and orthopedics and psycho-oncology. These programs are research-led, and our specialist external partners have contributed to development and will be actively involved in their delivery. They underline our commitment to innovation in lifelong learning and ensure that we continue to support our graduates' need in their future careers. The school is also delighted with its particular success in the recent research assessment exercise, with 80% of the school's research judged as of international standing. In addition, we have continued to attract funding from prestigious research agencies such as the Arthritis Research Campaign, the National Institute for Health Research, and the European Union. The school has capitalised on its research strengths and implemented a number of knowledge transfer partnerships with private industry, and is in the process of application for a patent based on development of protective foot devices for patients with circulatory problems. And now just a few highlights about the School of Nursing. Firstly, the university is hugely proud of the school's research success. The School of Nursing achieved 10th position overall in the UK for research undertaken in this vital field. Over 30% of the work published was recognised as being internationally excellent, with 10% being world leading, a truly strong performance. Alongside this, our students have continued to impress. For example, Salford nursing student Aisha Badat received the Jackie Solomon Award for Health Professional Student of the Year, and Claire Pitchford was commended for her caring approach to patients receiving treatment on a specialist breast care treatment unit. At the same time, in the very competitive area of getting work published, Paul Corrigan is still in his first year of training, has had a practice profile published in the Nursing Standard, and Simon Tierney-Wigg had his experience as a student delegate to the prestigious Nurse Education Today and Nurse Education in Practice conference published by Elsevier. And Leslie Taylor has had her experience of her international placement in Malawi, looking at neonatal care, published in the Royal College of Nursing Student Journal. We are very proud of all of them and so many others. And finally, in yet another field, in May of this year, a service user and student conference was successfully run for the 10th time since March 2007. This service user-led conference aims to increase the involvement of patients in nurse education and to enhance the communication skills of nurses. This groundbreaking conference recognised the importance of bringing together theoretical knowledge with practice experience and patient expertise in preparing nurses for their future careers. The conference has received sustained positive feedback from students and service users alike, and the approach has been presented at 2 international conferences. In February this year, the conference was noted as being an example of best practice by the Nursing and Midwifery Council in their review of the school's nurse education and training. Let me end as I began, by congratulating most warmly all of those of you who are graduating today. You are now entering the next phase of your lives with your new qualification, hopefully helping you not just to gain personal satisfaction in what you do, but also enabling you to put back into society, wherever that society may be, some of the knowledge and experience you've gained here at the University of Salford. As my own association of nearly 40 years with this university draws to a close, I would like to remind all of you that there is no such thing as a former member of this university. You, like me, are now alumni, members of the worldwide network of Salford graduates for life. Graduands, I salute you. John Wilkinson to come forward to be presented with the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Chancellor, Pro-Chancellors, distinguished guests, Salford graduates, ladies and gentlemen. The city of Salford has produced a fine array of famous people over the years. L.S. Lowry, Sir Ben Kingsley, Robert Powell, but none of these can make claim to be known as Mr. Salford. Mr. Salford, also known as John Wilkinson, has been the chair of Salford Reds Rugby League Club now for over 27 years. He's also a successful businessman, owning Wilkinson Star, a Salford-based company. As you can imagine, John is Salfordian through and through. He was born in Walkden in Salford and attended St Paul's Primary School and Walkden High School. When John graduated in 1960 with the aim of being a TV engineer, unfortunately there was too little apprenticeships for the school leavers, and so John changed his aim and became a pipe fitter. But undeterred by this, he studied on his day off at college, gaining his Sitting Guilds qualifications, also running a radio club at the local church, and it was through this dedication that he did achieve his aim. He became a TV engineer for Granada. Circumstances changed, and John moved on to become a service engineer for an air products company. And it was here, in 1971, a change of fate occurred. On Christmas Eve, John received a telegram to say that he was going to be made unemployed. Obviously, it was a huge turning point for John. This was the point when he decided he was going to go self-employed. So as you leave today with your degree certificates, aiming to go back into employment, John started with a second-hand post office van, a clutch of City and Guilds qualifications, and his experience and knowledge. And in his first year of trading, in which he repaired welding equipment by day and TVs at night, he produced a profit of £7,000, which in 1972 was quite an achievement. John's business grew and grew, moving premises and adding products to his line. And he made many international partnerships, and in particular, a strong friendship with some colleagues over in Italy, which helped bring the Sibora welding equipment over to the UK. John tells a story of how he shook hands one day to bring 500 units over here, and then he shook hands not long after arriving to sell 43,000 of these units to one company. Obviously, he's a very good businessman, but he's also a family man. His son Carl and daughter Tina both work for the business, and in fact, it was his wife Elaine, a Swinton Rugby League fan, who introduced John to the world of rugby league. And 27 years later, John's still the chair of Salford Reds Rugby League Club, and the successes that the club has had, which is entry into the Super League status, and obviously the building of a new stadium at Barton. John's vision for this stadium includes an education facility and also an opportunity for other sports to thrive, and I'm sure you'll agree it will be a fantastic legacy that John leaves the city of Salford. John's links with the university came when he approached us saying, you know, why aren't these two great institutions working together much more closely? And since then, we provide sports science support, and the players use our facilities. In fact, they still coach our student squad. And this has developed into much more partnerships. In fact, the music that was played today was written by a Salford student and now forms the Salford Reds anthem. John's also presented many of our award ceremonies, and he's obviously been the recipient of many awards as well, particularly for his community work. He's a trustee of the Salfordian Hotel, and his recent project is to develop the Buell Hill Mansion, one of Salford's iconic buildings, which he hopes to turn into a leisure facility to maintain its status. As you can imagine, it's not just the university who's recognised John's achievements, and in 2001, he received an OBE for his services in the Queen's Honours List. And he continues to be a great ambassador for the city, and now I hope for the university. Chancellor, I ask you to present the degree Doctor of Letters honoris causa to John Wilkinson.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by this university, I confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Many, many congratulations.
Chancellor, Pro-Vice-Chancellors, distinguished guests, Salford graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start by thanking Paul for his very kind words and his accurate recording of events that's taken place in my lifetime, all here in the city of Salford. Paul, you introduced how my businesses started from very, very humble beginnings. And if I could take you back those 37 years, I was made redundant and me and Elaine decided we'd have a go in business. We'd been married then for a few years. We had a son who was 3 years old, Carl, and a daughter, Tina, who was 18 months old. And we set out to start a business in Salford. The van was a GPO van. I bought it for £75. Through the van, it only went about 50 miles an hour, and I didn't realise that until somebody told me it had a governor on it. All GPO vans had a governor. And when that was taken off, it went a little bit quicker, but not too quick. But it started me off in business. I rented a workshop in Monton under a music store, Smith's Music Store, and away we went. We made our lounge into the office. We had some cupboards built in there that we could put the files in there and everything that Elaine needed, because Elaine was obviously very good at bookkeeping, and that was her job. I remember buying a typewriter from some advertisement I saw in the local advertiser, an unwanted gift. I eventually found the house in Tilsley. When I got there seemed to be a few unwanted gifts, because there's about 20 stacked behind the door. But it didn't put me off. I did a deal and I bought the typewriter. It was brand new, a small portable one for £10. And I can remember when me and Elaine, we started on our way, and of course it was hard really, because the two small children, they had to be looked after all the time. And I used to go anywhere to repair welding equipment. And of course I'd get back in the evening, it might be late, I might have been in Cardiff, Glasgow, wherever the work took me. And Elaine always had me tea ready. And I used to say, let me have half an hour in the chair. Whatever happens in half an hour, wake me up. I've got to get to them TV repairs. And I'd be knocking on people's doors at 9:30 in the evening. But I always made the excuse that I didn't want to let them down. But I was just running out of time, really. And of course, welding machines by day, TVs at night, and then at weekends. But I also made TV aerials. I put my own TV aerials together, and I erected TV aerials. I wouldn't like to see myself on a roof today, but then I was a little bit more nimble. When I think back, people said, John, you must have worked very, very hard. But I pay the total respect to Elaine, my wife, because she had a massive role to play. I mentioned with two small children, Elaine's job was to pick the parts up that we needed, consumable parts and parts to repair the machines, deliver the parts, package the parts and get them to the post office to send to the customers who'd ordered them from us. And of course, one job she had as well, not only just the paperwork, but we'd established 30 television rentals in the Salford area. And Elaine's job on a Friday was to go and collect the rental money. And it all come to a very good evening, that, because it was Friday and we tried at all times to get back in the house for 7:30. And Elaine had called at the chip shop and we had a fish supper. And I can remember that with real, remembrance of very happy times. But the business started to grow and we moved along into, different locations. And we then started, to employ a lot more people, represent more companies. And of course, the business went very, very strong at that time. Now my working life is very near to a close, but that can't happen at this moment in time, because we all know we've got now an economic downturn, which is very difficult for a lot of companies, and there's challenges that have got to be met. I feel that out of these challenges, from going back that 37 years ago to get a telegram that you don't want to receive, I think the challenges will bring opportunities, and I want to be in a position to take the opportunities when they occur. As Paul rightly said, we want to build a new stadium at Barton. That's very important to me. We found out at Salford 10 years ago that it's very hard to attract a crowd to East, because really nobody knows we're there. New people in the area can't find us. We've earmarked a site at the side of the M60. It's council-owned land. We're working with Peel Holdings and, of course, the college, Salford College, to put everything together there. And, of course, we'll be seen there because the stadium where it sits on that site, 200,000 cars a day go over the M60 bridge, what goes over the Manship Canal. And, of course, I think it will bring more support into us. And that's what we're really lacking at this moment in time. Yes, I've been the champion for the stadium. It's one of the most difficult tasks I've ever given to myself to do, because I'm not in full control as John Wilkinson. I've got to work with other people to make it happen. But we're so close, and I'm very confident that as we move into 2010, that the stadium will start to come out of the ground. It really is the only future for Salford City Reds. And after a lifetime of being part of it and supporting it, I know that that stadium has got to happen. If I could say today to the graduates who have achieved these outstanding awards, I know how hard it must be to study for 3-4 years. And at the end of it, you know, you get this scroll of parchment which it tells you everything. And it's something you must always respect, because that will help you along your lifetime. Unfortunately, we've all got to work. And somebody once told me a very simple little rhyme, really, that, you know, and I think it stands up very well. And he said, you're given a life to live. And the life that you're given to live, you break it into 3 parts. The first part, you work, 1/3 of it. The second part, you play for 1/3. And the third part, you sleep. And if you enjoy all those 3 parts of your life, you'll have a very happy lifetime. And I think it really stands up. And I think a lot of people would agree with me. A very simple equation, but a very true one. So I know today that the graduates have got their jobs linked to the healthcare professions. And this is a very vital part, you know, for any country. And I hope that the jobs that you're seeking, I know some people will be employed, some of the graduates, but I hope that the right jobs. And also saying that if you just can't find that job, the real job that you want, don't give up. Keep on working. Show somebody you can work hard. Have that ambition, because the opportunities will come up, and it's only yourselves who can make it happen. And I wish every one of you all the success with your future careers. You've worked so hard at Salford University, and you deserve all the success that you take from here. Looking in Salford, there's many, many projects on the go at the moment. I speak with a lot of affection for my city. It's been very kind to me. It's given me everything in my lifetime. And the 200 million development at Salford Royal Hospital is now on its way. The opportunities there are numerous. You know, I'm sure a number of professions and skills will be required as the hospital becomes one of the largest teaching hospitals in the UK. It's a fine hospital now, but we can see now of how the new hospital with the construction work there is shaping up. And I'm sure that our graduates will find some jobs in that area. You know, it is very important to our city that we have a very good hospital. During my business life, I've met many outstanding people. I've worked with very good colleagues, you know, business associates, and people who I've come to admire. But there's 2 people who stand out to me tremendously. And just capturing on what Paul said, some 30 years ago, I met Emiliano Generali, a businessman from the city of Bologna in Italy. Incidentally, Bologna houses the oldest university in the world. And I met this guy, and he really made me think about business. What I took from him, he had sheer guts, he had an appetite for business, he had determination, and he had that old-fashioned business acumen, something that is disappearing a bit today. I've never seen it bettered, and unfortunately, Emiliano passed away in the early 90s, and it was a big blow to me because I'd seen somebody who could really inspire me. If there was a deal to be done, if I didn't like a machine he was building, he'd listen to me. And I remember going for 11 weeks, 1 year, working on a range of machines. And we produced excellent machines for the automotive industry. And that was something so special. Every day in life, in front of the desk I sit in on the wall, his family, daughter Paula sent me a photograph of a father. A father always wore a tam o' shanty hat, something probably similar that I've got on today, but in a Scotch plaid. And of course, they had the Scotch scarf as well. And I still look for inspiration. I still recall the many meetings and the many times that we shared. And he used to ring me on a Saturday morning. He was always in work at 6 o'clock, and with the hour in difference, I get this call, and he couldn't speak English, I couldn't speak Italian. And it'd be, "Hi John, ciao, Emiliano, are you okay? Ciao, bye." And that was my early morning call every Saturday. And he did it religiously. But it was a man that I've been very, very fortunate to meet in my lifetime. And I'm sure our graduates today will meet people like this who will inspire you. And I think it's very good when that does happen. When we started to build the stadium, and we did start on the site, we did start on the remediation, we attended to the wildlife corridor, and of course we started to drill the site, and for reasons not in my control, it had to stop. But along the way, I was introduced to a gentleman by John Willis, CBE, also a graduate of the University of Salford, who was then the chief exec of the city of Salford. And he thought that I should meet John Whittaker. Now, a lot of people I know in this theatre today will know about John Whittaker. Not many people see him. He's a guy who doesn't like the limelight. He's an ordinary guy, but a guy of such vision. And, you know, we look at one of his projects, the Trafford Centre, marvellous project. You know, 30 million visitors a year visit the Trafford Centre. And it's right on our doorstep for dining, you know, for shopping. It couldn't be better. And then we look and what the Chancellor was saying about just probably 200 yards from where we are today, Media City. I never realised the importance of Media City until I spoke with a lady called Felicity Goody. And she explained what Media City means. There'll be 6 of its kind in the world. It'll have all the communication network links, and it's in Salford. And I applaud the University of Salford for being very proactive and being next to what's happening there on the site and now opening a campus, because this will undoubtedly be absolutely beneficial to graduates and of course the people in our city as well. We're told it will create 15,000 jobs, real jobs, and that to me is great for the city of Salford. Salford has afforded so much to so many. Yes, it's a city we can all be very proud of, and the university is a testimony to that. On a personal note, I feel today proud and so grateful for this prestigious honour that's been bestowed upon me. I would like to thank the University of Salford for putting me alongside so many fine people who have been awarded honorary degrees. The list of the profile of these people is impressive, and I feel very humble to stand alongside them. But thank you.
Thank you, John. We now move to the award of postgraduate and undergraduate degrees.
Ladies and gentlemen, postgraduate students will be presented individually for their awards. Chancellor, on behalf of the Institute for Health and Social Care Research, I present for the award of Doctor of Philosophy, Ning Shah. And Helen Taylor.
Chancellor, on behalf of the Faculty of Health and Social Care, I present to you for the award of Master of Science in Advanced Neonatal Practice, Elizabeth Monica Ann Morrison. Andrew Paul Simpson. For the award of Master of Science in Advanced Practice in Mammography, Jacqueline Laurie Gallagher. For the award of Master of Science in Clinical Practice for Healthcare Practitioners, Helen Shohan. For the award of Master of Science in Professional Development, Christine Elizabeth Kenny. Christine McGovern. Deborah Jane Ruff. For the award of Postgraduate Diploma in Advanced Practice in Medical Ultrasound, Ray Ann Louise Cunningham. Ida Estella Pittman. For the award of Postgraduate Diploma in Advanced Practice in Nuclear Medicine, Gail Maria Bryant. Scott Paul Burton. Kevin Campfield. Louise Susan Crook. John Peter Entwistle. Carl John Grimsditch. Hayley Ledbetter. Linda Elizabeth Morris. Catherine Osborne. Victoria Jane Roberts. Joanna Elizabeth Rowlands. Michael Rowley. Gillian Louise Stokes. And for the award of Postgraduate Certificate in Advanced Practice in Gastrointestinal Imaging, Rachel Jane Moore. Thank you, Chancellor.
Ladies and gentlemen, undergraduate students will be presented for their awards in groups of 3. I would be grateful if applause could take place after the final name in each group of 3 is announced. Chancellor, on behalf of the School of Healthcare Professions, I present for the award of Bachelor of Science with Honours in Diagnostic Radiography. Ruhul Amin, Catherine Joanne Azopardi, Faye Adele Burkitt. Rachel Andrea Blood, Robert Bray, Jane Isabel R. Brooks. Stephen Bryant, Misha Chowdhury, Adrian Paul Cullen. Tracy Jane Dolby, Stephen Robert Drain, Janet Fitton. Amy Garnett, Karen Ann Harvey, David Anton Holty. Khadija Jelani, Victoria Catherine Eve Jesper, Stephanie Siobhan Kemp. J. Louise Kenny, Sonia Khalid, Vanessa Louise Knight. Christopher Stephen Lennon, Shaveen Malachi, Benita Manoir. Rachel Louise Moran, Epiphania Miranda, James Nolan. Julie Nicola O'Rourke, Jennifer Ruth Owen, Scott Joseph Owen. Sophia Rabin, Shamila Rahman, Adam Scott Ralphs. Shilpa Ramesh, Kudsai Joy Jones Sibanda, Barry Welsh. For the award of Foundation Degree in Science Allied Health, Anne-Marie Birtwistle, Julie Ann Bridge, Elizabeth Cruther. Natalie Jane Earnshaw, Jade Angela Leake, Margaret Lilly. Claire Elizabeth Ollerton, Paul Quinn, Rhian Alice Sunderland. For the Foundation Degree Science Sport Development, Craig Harper, Glenn Holland, Gary Martin.
Chancellor, on behalf of the School of Nursing, I present students for the Bachelor of Science with Honours Acute Childcare. Simon Ainsworth, Elaine Blackwood and Julia Davis. Philippa Dory, Naomi Goody and Amberly Manai. Jeanette Platt, Nicola Ridley and Nina Salisbury. Jill Watkinson. For the Bachelor of Science with Honours Adult Nursing, Caroline Andrewzak, Tasleem Ashkid and Jeanette Bell. Katie Bennett, Patty Beswick and Cassie Blease. Gillian Callahan, Heather, Casey and Hayley Cheetham. Emma Louise Clark, Anna Coulson and Colin Davenport. Sarah Drew, Laura Edmondson and Leanne Farley. Anna Fletcher, Anita Frempong and Julie Golston. Joanne George, Catherine Halliwell and Vicky Holt. Rachel Maria Jones, Sean Joyce and Colette Healy. William Lawton, Deborah Mangini and Burnham Mayer. Gladys Meaty, Josephine Mutimi and Elizabeth Endamala. Pretty Engwana, Catherine Parker and Leslie Ann Pillin. Gemma Riley, Tracy Rowlands and Sitsi Ruzanda. Susan Schofield, Stephanie Sharp and Valerie Sculland. Michelle Spreadborough, Emma Street and Nina Suklas. Helen Swindle, Katie Taylor, Teresa Travis. Victoria Trino, Pamela Watson and Amanda Worley. Rebecca Whiting, Kathleen Whittle and Olivia Wilcock. And Elizabeth Witherspoon. Bachelor of Science with Honours Children's Nursing, Jill Armitage, Claire Booth and Simone Butcher. Lindsay Caldecott, Alison Connolly and Sarah Dakin. Leanne Derbyshire, Gemma Firth and Carly Fishwick. Jennifer Gubas, Kimberly Hinchcliffe and Janine Houghton. Adele Johnson, Laureen Lindy, and Sheila Ann Mutala Shonga. Kelly Oldroyd, Salma Rahman, and Christina Riley. Lindsay Rogers, Leanne Simmons, and Jodie Thompson. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Community and Public Health Studies, Beverly Chipchase, Andrea Patel, and Fiona Pickup. Ruth Trickett. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Mental Health Nursing, Asin Okama, Natasha Brown, and Martin Butler. Christopher Coombs, Andrew Craggs, and Angela Hughes. Kim Ireland, Jennifer Mercer, and Ronald Morris. Sheba Nampira, Lindsay Phelan, and Lynn Richardson. Martha Rukanai and Kelly Irvine. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Professional Studies, Nursing and Healthcare, Annette Lisa Bads, Alexander Bedford, and Carly Bleakley. Penny Darby, Carleen Thompson, and Sarah Flatley. Vanessa Genesis, Suzanne Gowland, and Loretta Hambanga. Fiona Morrison, Rebecca Ann Rourke, and Melanie Taylor. And Laura Wells. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Therapeutic Interventions, Melanie Bainbridge, Adam Bernard, and Karen Boyle. Rennie Clark, Holly Cooper, and Deborah Drinkwater. Michael Green, Joyce Griffiths, and Michael Hartley. Donna Marie Hood, Sheila Hume, and Carla Mobert. Dawn Parker, Sukaluki Tusuma, and Tracy Sikai. Diane Wood. Foundation Degree Science, Child and Adolescent Mental Health, Sarah Edge, Lynn Hayes, and Nicola Howarth. Stephanie Hyde, Deborah Rybecker, and Tracy Shepherd. Alison Smith and Emma Worden. Diploma of Higher Education, Contemporary Healthcare Practice, Linda Coleman and Catherine Mary O'Gara. Diploma of Higher Education, Nursing and Adult Nursing, Louise Ahmed, Gemma Barber, and Hilary Benson. Heather Birchall, Victoria Boner, and Katie Brearley. Jennifer Brockbank, James Bunston, and Vanessa Cardona. Leanne Carney, Martina Carroll, and James Cheetham. Helen Christensen, Hayley Coleman, and Lauren Cook. Sonia Conleff, Leanne Donahue, and Jennifer Doyle. Sarah Elliott, Nisa Eaton, and Elaine Fitzpatrick. Susan Fletcher, Michelle Gee, and Deborah Green. Zoe Gribben, Susan Grundy, and Kirsty Hall. Kimberly Hamilton, Hayley Hampton, and Claire Harrison. Lisa Haydock, Zoe Hewitt, and Sarah Hewson. Lorraine Hyam, Jessica Holden, and Suzanne Holt. Tracy Hopton, Kristen Itchun, and Alison Jackson. Oriel Kavanagh, Susan Kelsall, and Shameen Lilly. Ruth Mandel, Lynn Matra Rankaka, Samantha McCall. Tony McDonough, Claire McMorrow, and David Mitchell. Sharon Mitchell, Martine Murphy, and Tendai Mutanga. Jacqueline Noon, Anne Owens and Kim Parker. Sarah Ann Parr, Maria Quilton and Marie Sapphire. Edward Syke Hogg, Charlotte Lark Stott and Louise Andrea Stott. Francis Taylor, Lindsay Taylor and Paul Ann Taylor. Samantha Taylor, Lindsay Turner and Emma Walker. Roberta Watt, Francis Ware and Michelle Wright. And Victoria Wrigley. Diploma of Higher Education Nursing in Child Health, Heather Bailey, Anna Bennett and Carla Jane Bennett. Lisa Clement, Sophie Gore and Rachel Dale. Hannah Dixon, Bethany Drury and Ara Garnham. Joanne Gooch, Gillian Hamlet and Jodie Hayes. Kimberly Heaton, Suzanne Kellett and Jennifer Kemp. Laura Kershaw, Tracy Jane Klimovich and Adele Lees. Sarah Logan and Gemma Owen, Nicola Pemberton. Stacey Shuttleworth, Regina Tucker and James Twigg. Karen Watson and Jessica Wilkinson. And Diploma of Higher Education in Nursing, Mental Health, Alvin Andrews, Kristen Ashbury and Caroline Bailey. Angela Corland, Kylie Charnley and Gary Cooper. Rotimi Williams Dalhousie, Pauline Doob and Angela Featherstone. Michael Frank, Sarah Glynn and Victoria Benison. Gemma Lomax, Tarsiri Marshiri and Bualisi Viola Moyo. Nyreen Nangle, Helen Parr and Tracy Pickens. Nerjis Siddiqui, Koyo Shadrax, and Fadaizi Saibiza. Annabelle Smythe, Robert Mwanga, and Maria Walsh. Janet Worley and Linda Wilson. Therapeutic Interventions, Bachelor of Science with Honours, Therapeutic Interventions, Anthony Robertson. Bachelor of Science with Honours, Ifat Khanam. Bachelor of Science with Honours in Diagnostic Radiography, Julia Danella. Diploma of Higher Education, Nursing, Adult Nursing, Katie Brealey.
Before I close the ceremony, I think we should all join in a tremendous round of applause for all our new graduates. Can I ask our graduates to put their hats on, please? I now declare the ceremony closed.
That's all from our second session here at the Lowry. Later this afternoon, more graduates from the School of Nursing will receive their awards, so join me just before 4:15.